time is to use their lowest group rate, which is $4 per person, whether young or old. That's the lowest rate that they have available. Also like to call your attention to the fact that we have restrooms in the far corner. And if anyone has not registered, please make your way to the registration tables that we could get your name and address, that we may keep a record of who has been in attendance.
We come now, first of all, thanking Thee for this day, the day that Thou hast created. Thou hast created it for our enjoyment. We thank Thee, our Father, that we can come together again on this joyous occasion, that we might renew our acquaintances with friends and loved ones. We're grateful, our Father, for our heritage. We're grateful for our family.
The meeting will be given by Carolyn Cunningham, our recording secretary.
Minutes of the 35th Annual Wilds Family Reunion, Sunday, October 8, 1989, Okefenokee Swamp Park, Waycross, Georgia. The meeting of the Wilds Family Organization was called to order at 11:30 a.m. Sunday, October 8, 1989 by President Albert Wiles. Wade Reynolds Sr., husband of Adeline Wiles Reynolds, gave the invocation. President Wiles called upon Martha Parrott, daughter of Homer Wiles, to sing an inspirational song titled "The Blood Will Never Lose Its Power." President Wiles asked those attending for the first time to raise their hands. About a half dozen responded. In the absence of Recording Secretary Leila Prescott Ellis, Corresponding Secretary Hazel Wiles Matzel read the minutes of the 1988 meeting, which were approved as read. Treasurer Cecil Mixon gave the following statistics. Balance at the beginning of the 1988 reunion, $790.70. Adding to that, contributions of $453, print and poster sales of $133, and annual interest of $25.92 gave a total of $1,402.62, minus the 1988-89 disbursements of $1,090.41, gave a present balance of $312.21. He encouraged everyone to participate in making a contribution because of the money needed to operate during the year. A collection was received. There were no questions on the Treasurer's report, and it was filed. President Wiles called upon Martha Parrott to sing another inspirational song titled "Unfailing Love." Corresponding Secretary Hazel Wiles Matzel says she sent out 550 cards for this reunion, but a few were returned. She asked those attending to help her update the mailing list by supplying any address changes. Then she read two letters. The first was from the Okefenokee Heritage Center expressing appreciation for the contribution of the new Wilds Family exhibit, which was prepared by Diane Hust, Cassavant, and Bobby Mixon. The other letter was the notification by Leila Prescott Ellis that she would be unable to serve another term as recording secretary. Leila expressed hope that younger family members would become involved in the organization. Hazel suggested that Wiles family members buy descendants of Maximilian Wiles of Scotland and Georgia to contribute it to a school. This book of our family history was revised in 1984 by Hazel from Katie Wiles McDonald's original edition published in 1964. Nominating Committee Chairman James Wiles recommended on behalf of the committee that all of the current officers, with the exception of Recording Secretary, be re-elected. They were re-elected unanimously. President Wiles opened the floor for nominations for Recording Secretary. Adeline Wiles Reynolds nominated Carolyn Wiles Cunningham, who was elected unanimously. 1989 to 90 officers are President Albert Wiles, Vice President Kenneth Wiles, Corresponding Secretary Hazel Wiles Matzel, Assistant Corresponding Secretary Ann Allen Wiles, Recording Secretary Carolyn Wiles Cunningham, Treasurer Cecil Mixon. President Wiles encouraged those attending to buy copies of the 1984 Wiles Family History compiled and edited by Hazel Wiles Matzel or the research report done by Carolyn Wiles Cunningham. He also encouraged family members to sign up at the registration table for the Afternoon Family Talent Program. Then President Wiles asked Elton Reynolds, editor of the Wiles Family Newsletter and son of Wade and Adeline Wiles, before explaining how to subscribe to the newsletter, Elton announced that he thought he just might know who is the newest member of the Wiles family, his granddaughter born at 6:15 that morning in Fort Worth, Texas. May the Wiles family grow on, he added. Elton encouraged family members to subscribe to the newsletter, which is published once every 2 months. He also encouraged family members to send him information to include in the newsletter. President Wiles announced that tickets to the Okefenokee Swamp Park were being reduced that day to $4 per adult for Wiles family members. He said the regular admission price is $7. The youngest family member present was Matthew Aaron First, who was 9 days old. A descendant of John, he is the son of Freddie and Julie First, and the great-grandson of Ansel Wiles. Mrs. Nora Wiles, a widow of Milton William Wiles, who was the youngest son of Jesse, was the oldest family member present. She was 93 years old with her next birthday coming up in December. The next oldest person present was K.D. Wiles, youngest son of Alexander Flournoy and Nancy Robinson Wiles, at 92. The family member who came the farthest was Donita Proctor of Healdsburg, California. A descendant of John, she was the daughter of Ansel and Annie Crawford Wiles. Wade Reynolds said the blessing. The meeting was adjourned at 12:30 p.m. followed by dinner and family entertainment that afternoon.
We had I didn't tell you about the addition of a little bit of money. We have difference in what the total is, my amount that you give. We had another bill come in, and it brought our total of $292.21 total on hand. Can everybody hear me all right?
No, they can't hear. We can't hardly hear you.
All right, we'll get a little closer to the mic. As I was saying, we had I had an extra bill come in that on the expenses, and it brought our total down to $292.21 as of cash on hand at the end of the reunion last year. Through our contributions, we had $356.05. Gives us a total of $648.26. And our expenses, all our expenses run $571.21 left of the cash on hand at the beginning of this year of $77.05.
Hello, how you doing?
We had some extra expense of last year that run us quite a bit high, such as the correspondence supplies on $286.87, and it kind of gives a blood in our pot, so to speak. So we're going to ask today that you dig a little deeper to try to help us with this. Our expense runs somewhere around $350 or so per year. And when we pass around the hat, we're going to ask that you dig a little deep, try to help catch up with some of our expenses on it.
Welcome all of you here today, and we would ask that that you folks pay attention to the fellow we got coming around, Mr. Adams, Willis Mansell. We got several fellows over here that's going to be walking around with their hats. We'd ask that each of you, if you would, dig a little deeper, and so maybe we can get some more cards and stuff out, mailed out, get some more literature out where everybody will be aware of what's going on. It does take money to operate this thing every year, so we would encourage you to, each one of you, to chip in. Thank you.
That's right. We have to rent the tents. We have to rent the restrooms, buy ice, and of course all the correspondence that's sent out. And all this takes money. We'll now have our remarks by our corresponding secretary, Hazel Wiles Mansell.
Welcome. I just heard that you're supposed to get close to this mic. Am I close enough? It really looks good to see all of you out there, and I was just a little amused as I sat back here and viewed the group. I do see a lot of people that look alike, and I just learned that last night that somebody that doesn't know that she's kin to the Wiles was accused of looking like us, so we'll just claim all of you. All of you visitors, be sure and register. We do like to get an accurate count. And we thought that it would be very reasonable if Eldon Reynolds used the newsletter to send out the notice concerning this reunion. And he does have an extensive mailing list. He has my mailing list. He has the registration from possibly the past 2 years, but he does not have some of your mailing list. probably, some of you got as many as 20 cards or 12 cards in years past, or sheets of paper, whichever I happen to write it on that year, to mail out. It is just beautiful. As I remember, Bobby Mixon and Diane Cassavet and probably several other people worked on that display, but it does look very nice. When I picked up some extra books, and they're the same books that have been available to you since '84, but I picked up 24 books from Brantley Printing, and they're out here for you if you have not had a chance to buy a book. They're $15.75 per book, and $2 if you wish to have one mailed extra to the $15.75. So if you have a family member that you want a book mailed to, you pay for the book and give the address, and we will put it in the mail to that family member. When I was picking up the books, Mr. Billy Brantley at Brantley Printing discussed with me a project that he is developing. And he is developing something that he calls, I believe, the Obadiah Barber Homestead. He said that he got a lot of questions about where the Wilds Massacre site is, and he would like for that particular site to be more developed so he can explain what is there and how people can get to it easily. We have not been successful getting signs put up really to direct people to the massacre site.